Hi, you're listening to Childless and Moving Onward. This is the place where we talk about thriving in life when you're a woman who is childless, not by choice, regardless of the road that brought you to childlessness. Hi, and welcome back to Childless and Moving Onward. This is podcast episode number 26. I'm Gail Miller, your host. I'm a speaker, life coach, and physician. I'm also childless by circumstance, not by choice. And I empower women who are traveling this path to feel worthy and live fulfilling lives. So the topic I'm going to talk about today is the result of something a politician said. This is not about politics or this particular person. It's not about sides. It's actually about what happened as the result of what was said. About how far too many of you who are childless, how you felt as a result of what was said. And it wasn't a positive feeling. So the topic is childless, not voiceless. Drowning out the noise. Drowning out what other people think is what it's about. So a politician was recently speaking about how her children keep her humble, and was then speaking about another politician who doesn't have children, so she doesn't have anything to keep her humble. Now, again, this is not about politics. It's not about the politician sides or even what was said. Though I do have a lot to say about that. This is about what many of you who are childless took away from this. So many of you have said that when you heard it, it made you feel like you don't matter, like you're not worth anything. And what followed was explanations, because I've read this in different groups. I've heard it from people reaching out. You said that because this politician has such a huge following, well, then she must be right. And so many of her followers agreed with her. So of course she must be right. And that's where the issue is. So let's start with a truth that's both simple and profound and true. We can't control what other people think. We can't control the messages society pushes about being childless, or the pervasive idea that you need to be a mom to have worth, or in this case, be humble and have worth. But what we can control is how we see ourselves. We get to decide how we think about our lives, how we see our value and self-worth. Take a moment to reflect. How often do you find yourself affected by others' opinions of your being childless? It's okay to admit it. We've all had that moment where we felt like we were auditioning for a role that we didn't want. This role as the childless woman. When it comes to how others think, well, just because a lot of people agree on something doesn't make it right. Kind of like how everyone once thought mullets were a great idea. Sorry if you wear a mullet. But here's why. Here's why just because many people think something, it doesn't mean it's right. Popularity or likes or followers, none of that equals truth. Just because everybody's jumping on a bandwagon doesn't mean it's not a clown car. History is full of what are considered popular beliefs that turned out to be wrong, that turned out to be, in some cases, outright ridiculous. The second issue or second point about just because everybody thinks something or many people think something doesn't make it right. Think for yourself. If we only followed the crowd, we'd be literally stuck in the Stone Age. The third is that social pressure is a real thing. Sometimes people will know that something or someone is wrong, but they go along with the crowd to avoid being that person, or because they can't think for themselves. Even someone, when they know it's wrong, and maybe they don't know it consciously, but subconsciously they know this is wrong, but who wants to be the outsider? Who wants to be the lone person going against the crowd? So, in short, while it's good to listen to others, don't forget to use your own brain. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's right. And so just because this woman has a lot of followers doesn't mean what she said is right. Just because many, maybe all of her followers agreed with her doesn't make what she said right. Doesn't mean that you are less than because you don't have children. So for many women who are childless, not by choice, there's this immense weight of expectations. Society, our family members, friends, colleagues, our workplace, even our own internalized beliefs can create this chorus of voices telling us that somehow we are less than because we're not moms. And in all honesty, I remember a time when I believed that criticism, when I felt like I was failing. I failed at being a woman because I wasn't in the path that was expected of me, that I wanted, but it was also expected of me, even if I didn't want that path. But here's the thing. That criticism wasn't really mine to carry. It came from others' expectations. It came from a society that measures women by narrow standards. Almost all the time, that's how we're measured, by very narrow standards. Fertility status, marital status. Anything else doesn't matter about us. But over time, I've learned to find myself beyond those expectations. It's been a journey of recognizing my worth outside of what anybody else thinks, and recognizing that others can be and are wrong, no matter how popular their opinions seem to be. But part of this journey has been learning self-compassion. So I want to pause for a moment again and let you reflect again. Think about how often you talk to yourself. Take the time to just think about that. And be honest with yourself. Are you kind to yourself? Or do you often find yourself being your own harshest critic? Instead of beating ourselves up for not fitting some mold, for not being perfect, we can instead learn the importance of treating ourselves with the same understanding we'd give a friend. Shifting to self-compassion is transformative And here's the truth, ladies. You get to define your own worth, not anybody else. Not your maybe well-meaning but misguided relative. Not your coworker with 3 kids who thinks she's got it all figured out for everybody else. Not the random stranger at the grocery store who thinks they're an expert on your life and your life choices and decisions. She doesn't even know you, but she just looked at you and she already knows, and oftentimes isn't shy about saying things to a perfect stranger. And it's also not your own worth is not defined even by well-known people, whether they are politicians, influencers, pop stars, celebrities in some way. They don't get to define your worth. Do you know who does? You. So let's break this down. The first, your worth is not determined by your reproductive status. The second, your life can be full. It can be rich and meaningful even without children. It's not the life you had wanted. That's not the point here. But it doesn't have to be less than. It doesn't have to lack in meaning. Your life can be meaningful even without children. For those of you who love cheese, it's like a really good cheese platter. You don't need crackers for the cheese to be delicious. Your life can still be wonderful even without children. Third, you don't have to have children to have humility. And fourth, you have unique contributions to make to this world that have nothing to do with motherhood. It's like being the person who brings snacks to the book club. You have other contributions. You don't have to be a mom to contribute to the world. It takes a mindset shift, absolutely. But it is one to work on that can be achieved. So, towards that, let's talk about some practical strategies for doing that helping with that mindset change, helping with maintaining your sense of self despite this external pressure that lessens your worth because you don't have children. The first is develop a strong personal narrative. Know your story and be comfortable with it. Meaning, know your story and don't have the shame that comes with your story surrounding your childlessness. There is no shame in being childless. There's also no shame in whatever path brought you to this place. No matter what society is telling you, block those messages out, because what others think doesn't matter. Don't internalize those messages. When you are secure in your path, others' opinions have much less power. For myself, I was afraid to tell my story because I felt that shame. Because I felt shame and because I still have 2 people in my life who like to use someone's pain points to create more pain, to rub it in, if you will. And I had to learn that there was nothing to be ashamed of for being childless or the decisions I made to bring me to this place. And I had to learn, and I did that, not only what others think, I can't control and shouldn't matter to me. I had to recognize that these two women, their own insecurities that make them do hurtful things to other people so they can feel good, that's on them, not me. The second strategy is to set boundaries. It's okay to tell people that their comments about you being childless aren't welcome. It's okay to tell people on social media who are blindly responding to some well-known person making stupid comments about childless women. It's okay to tell them to get lost, no matter how many people are agreeing with them. It's okay to be that one person going in the opposite direction of the crowd when the crowd is wrong. Or feel free to use the power of scrolling right on by. That is setting a boundary for yourself. Practice phrases like, my life is my business, or my personal life isn't up for discussion. Or word these in a way that you feel comfortable with. Get bonus points if you can say that to someone in person while also holding a glass of wine. The third strategy, surround yourself with supportive people. Seek out friends and communities that understand and respect your situation. Preferably ones who also enjoy brunching without the kids in tow every once in a while, right? Because the support doesn't have to come just from other women who are childless. It is important to seek out other women who have this in common with you, but you can get support from others. The fourth strategy is to focus on your strengths and your passions. Remind yourself regularly of your unique talents. You do have strengths. Stop believing that not becoming a mom makes you less than. Recognize all that you do. And by all that you do, I'm not talking about curing world hunger, like things at that level. You don't have to do things like that to be accomplished. Accomplished is all of the little things that you do. Some days it's you were able to get out of bed and push past this pain. And that's okay. The fifth strategy is to practice self-compassion. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to a friend who would be in the same situation. Unless that friend is trying to convince you that yoga pants aren't real pants, then all bets are off. So here's a powerful reframe. When someone expresses judgment or pity about your childless status, recognize that their reaction is about them, not you. If someone wants to use your childless status to hurt you, realize it's on them, not you, because it's coming from a place of their own insecurities. Remember, you don't need to justify your life or your decisions to anyone. Your value doesn't decrease because of somebody else's inability to see your worth. So try this affirmation. I am complete and worthy exactly as I am. My life is my own to live authentically. This isn't just a feel-good mantra. It's a powerful truth that can reshape how we view ourselves and our place in the world. How we speak to ourselves matters because it affects how we feel about ourselves. So you have the power to shape your narrative. You can choose to see yourself as valuable because you are. You can choose not to internalize what others think because what they think is about them, not you. So again, what you say to yourself matters. So make sure when you're speaking to yourself, you're doing it kindly. Living your best life isn't about meeting others' expectations. It's about creating a life that resonates with your values, with your passions and dreams. Even if those dreams didn't turn out the way you had expected, reframe those dreams, create a new one with the life that's been handed to you. So I challenge you. I really want you to think about this. What would your life look like if you completely let go of others' opinions? What dreams would you pursue? What adventures could you embark on? You could maybe start thinking about that knitting club that you want to start. Or maybe it's a knitting club where everybody just drinks wine. Or maybe it's a combination of the two or something else. And if it's a combination of the two, I want to see those creations that you've knitted after you've gone through the wine. So as I wrap up today's episode, remember this. Your life is yours to live. Your worth is inherent. It's not dependent on having children or meeting societal expectations. You truly are enough just as you are. Embrace yourself, your worth, your path in all its unique twists and turns. All right, that is all for today, and I will be back with you next week. Thanks for tuning in to Childless and Moving Onward. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can stay up to date on everything I do by following me on Instagram at Childless Path Onward or on Facebook and YouTube at Path Onward. Until next time, thanks again.